Hola, hello everybody. This is day 7, the end of the very first week. So, tell me, how did it go? How did it go this week? As we were learning, as we were trying to get our routine together, we were learning some things about ourselves and our families. What is something that you learned this week? I've learned quite a few things. In fact, I was jotting it down. I was just jotting some of those things down in my week 1 reflection this week. So um, I am really interested in knowing what you guys have learned this week. I'm going to do a couple of shares and a tag really quick, so I'm not talking to myself. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes while I do this. Let's see. Whoops. I'm going to share. It takes me a moment because I'm slow at a lot of this technology thing. But I did figure out how to go live, right? Okay. So here are a couple of things that as I went through this week, even though I've done this routine before with my daughter, I learned a few new things. So for those that are new, let me do a recap. For those that are new, we're doing a 28-day family language learning challenge. And even though I'm a Spanish teacher, this challenge is for any family learning any language. It works for anybody. And the way we're doing it is we're trying to establish a routine. Hello, Felicia. We're establishing a routine in our homes that we're practicing the language in that particular routine. For our family, we're learning Mandarin. Well, I'm learning Mandarin with my youngest daughter. So our routine is breakfast, and we call it Mandarin morning. During this time, we are, talking about mostly breakfast things, what I like to eat, what I want to eat, do you want to eat this? These are little simple sentence structures that she's learned in her Lingo Bus classes, and I try to keep those sentence structures going all the time so she's not forgetting them. Another thing that we do on this particular routine is that we watch a Mandarin show. So right now the show that we're watching is called Meteor Garden. It's our second time through. The first time I did put on the subtitles so we could understand the story. The second time around, we're actually able to focus on the language because there's no subtitles. So we're having to listen and pick out those words that we know. And since we do know the story, we're getting a gist of, oh, these particular words must be in relation to, this particular situation. So we're getting more out of it this second time around. So that's part of our routine. Other routines that you can think of doing in your language challenge, there's a morning routine such as when you get up in the morning. You get up, you get dressed, you make your bed, brush your teeth, wash your face, things like that. So some of the vocabulary and the language that you're using, you may already know in that particular routine. So that's the routine that you choose, and you would choose to do this every single day. You would practice using those sentences and those vocabulary every single day. Every single day you're going to wake up and say, Buenos dias, mijo, ¿cómo dormiste? Yeah, ¿cómo amaneciste? Actually, we say, ¿cómo amaneciste? That could be part of a routine. So I teach to choose just one routine. And in my book, which is 28 Days to Family Language Learning, I actually have a sample mealtime routine. There's a mealtime routine, but there's like 4 different components of mealtime. You would just need to choose one of those components, and you would be practicing that particular component every single day. So that is what we've been doing. We started on July 1st. Today's the July 7th. This is the 7th day. This is the end of the week. How did we do? So I was filling out my reflection, my week 1 reflection. It's in the book. And the first question is, how do you feel about this week? And I was kind of like, I'm kind of blasé about it. Simply because we pretty much did what we always do. But this time, since I've been jotting down notes of how we were responding and the things that we didn't know, I learned a whole lot about this whole thing. She does actually like speaking Chinese, but one thing that I need to change is I really do need to do even better planning. Um, some of the things, and I actually wrote it down. Um, another thing that I teach is the 10 hours minimum of language exposure. That doesn't mean 10 hours of a routine. It just means exposure to the language, a lot of audio, listening to the sounds of that language so that the brain is integrating these sounds into the brain. As a matter of fact, the more you listen to it, you might hear your children or even yourself, kind of babbling the sounds in that language. It might not be real words, but think about your first language. That first language, your first language, if it's English, what's the first sounds that come out of a baby's mouth? It's all babble. But the babble are the sounds of that particular language. If the language is Spanish, your baby's going to babble in Spanish. That's how it works. So the more exposure that you have to the language, the more your brain is really grabbing onto the nuances of that language, which just makes it better for you as far as hearing the sounds and being able to reproduce them. So what I found was I wasn't integrating as much exposure as I originally thought I was doing. I certainly wasn't getting 10 hours. So I was talking to her and I said, we really need to introduce a little bit more. So exposure is not just the one show that we're watching, but listening to the songs again. She used to sing those songs in Chinese. It was beautiful. I would like to integrate even maybe reading some books in Chinese. She doesn't know a lot of the characters, but I can actually recognize many simple characters. I would actually be able to read some to her. Studying that we do, she does take LingoBus classes, but there's also other resources that LingoBus provides that we can be using to help up her exposure to the language. Again, watching the shows, things like that. But I really want to increase that exposure. Another thing that I found out as I was doing this routine is I'm planning more things that's kind of not exactly outside the routine, but it's going to help within the routine. So for example, she takes LingoBus classes. That's not specifically routine related. And studying for those classes isn't exactly routine related. However, the things that she's studying can be integrated into the routine. She's learning some sentence structure. She's learning some vocabulary. Some of these things can be integrated. So, and learning like the characters and things like that. So what I thought, another thing I learned is I need a visual calendar to help me keep things straight. If you remember, I showed you in the book, I think it was sometime last week, but in the book, there is a spot to write down all the different resources that you have available, whether it's different people, whether it's media, books, textbooks, things like that. And it's fine inside of the book. However, I really felt that I needed something that I can hang on my refrigerator that has that list and that I can jot down on a calendar. And see, that's what I made. I just actually made this. I'm going to write down the resources that I do want to use for the month and then jot on the calendar the days that I'm going to use those particular resources. And this is something that I will be able to hang on the refrigerator. We're going to be in the refrigerator all day, at least 3 times a day. So that's going to kind of help me remind myself. So if you would like a copy of this particular calendar, if you look in the description for this live, I have a link. Click on the link, name, email, and it's a free download for you. You can get a copy of that calendar. And some of the things that you've been writing in the book, you'll be able to jot down on this 28-day calendar and hang it on your refrigerator as a constant reminder that this is what I want to use, this is what I want to do. Something else I want to do is to play games as part of the morning routine. I actually have another handout. I think I'll probably get that away tomorrow. Tomorrow's the first day of the second week, but of some example activities that we can incorporate into the routine. I do want to do that. And in the book, I also have the activity planner. So we can plan some of these activities that we want to do within the routine. I do want to do that. I mean, she's 8. It's still considered early childhood. And even if our kids are older, there are ways to making this more fun and not just I'm saying this, you're saying that, and just making it, you know, textbook and drudgery. We don't need to do that. We like to have things that are fun. We don't like looking at textbooks all day either, right? So let's think of some activities. But my main focus this week, I wrote, what will be the focus for next week? My main focus this upcoming week is going to be to increase the amount of audiovisual input so that we can work up to 10 hours. That is my main focus. And I am going to use my calendar and look at the resources I wrote on my resources page and figure out how am I going to do that? How am I going to do it? The show that we watch every day is only 45 minutes. Since we mostly do Chinese Monday through Friday, we don't really do it Saturday and Sunday since my husband, he's a Spanish speaker. He's not the one learning Chinese. So we don't usually do a whole lot on Saturday and Sunday. That means I need to incorporate at least 2 hours of some type of Chinese exposure every day, Monday through Friday. So I have to look at my resources, think of some activities, and I'm putting these together, and that's how I'm going to do that. So, so for those of you that are on live, you can comment, what are some of the things that you learned? What are some things that you would like to extend or to change? And if you're watching this on replay, comment in the comments, what are the things that you learned about you or your family, things that you feel that you need to help you continue on this journey. And then let's just talk about it. I didn't really have any setbacks this week. Just that I think the first day my daughter was really sick, but even then she was able to tell me, Bushi Juan, you know, I don't want, or I don't like something that she said she didn't like. So I was like, okay, that's all she said. And then we watched the show, and that was it for her. But each day we do a little bit more. So I'm really interested in knowing, how are you doing? And of course, you can comment. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And we're going to be moving into week 2 tomorrow. And I'm excited. We're getting our routines together and making it a consistent and wonderful part of our daily lives. So I will see y'all later. Ciao.